So yesterday we read these paired passages, squirrels using snakeskin and a clever use of coconuts, and we started answering our paired passage questions. We left off on number 29, and our directions here say use a clever use of coconuts, pages 25 through 26, to answer questions 29 through 32. So let's look at number 29. In paragraph 4, the word indicates means. So the first thing that we need to do is go back to paragraph 4 of a clever use of coconuts to see how that word is used in the sentence. Remember, we don't need to run to a dictionary. We need to use our context clues, which are the clues around the word, to help us figure out what that word means. Okay? So the sentence says, scientists argue that the transportation of the shells indicates that octopuses can think ahead about how they will use the shells later. So let's go look at our answer choices. A, suggests. Let's go plug it in and see. Number 20, let's see, paragraph 4. There it is. Scientists argue that the transportation of the shells suggests that octopuses can think ahead. Makes sense. It fits. A could be our answer. Let's go look at our other answer choices. Oh, I passed it. There we go. B, depends. Scientists argue that the transportation of the shells depends that octopus can think ahead. Does that make sense? No. So if you chose B on this assignment, you already know what you need to do. Gotta start running. So let's look at our other answer choices. C, helps. So let's go plug that in. Scientists argue that the transportation of the shell helps the octopus can think ahead. Does that make sense? No, it does not. C is not our answer. And lastly, D, decides. Scientists argue that the transportation of the shells decides that octopus can think ahead about how they will use the shells later. That does not fit. The word decides here is not our answer. Therefore, if you chose A, the troll is not going to get you. Take a few more steps. Number 30. The fact that octopuses sometimes move coconut shells from one place to another is important because it suggests that octopuses, F, are more intelligent than some birds. Is that what our text told us? Let's go look for our text evidence. So let's see. Besides humans, chimpanzees, and some birds are the most common tool users. But now scientists have placed octopuses with animals that are intelligent enough to use tools. Never did it say that octopuses are more intelligent than some birds. It said, like some birds, these octopuses are now being considered tool users. So A is not our answer, and if you chose A, G, are able to plan for future needs. Let's go look at our text evidence. So scrolling back up. These creatures can pick up shells and hide in them, but octopuses can carry shells from one spot to another. Scientists argue that this transportation of the shells indicates that octopuses can think ahead about how they will use the shells later. So does that support G, are able to plan for future needs? It says that they are able to plan for later. So G could be our answer. We can put an M next to it for maybe, but remember, got to read all of our answer choices. H, relocate to new homes often. Is that what we just read? Is that why the octopuses are moving their shells? No, they're not just moving because they want to relocate just because. So if you chose H, time to run. And lastly, J, may find other types of shells to use in the future. That is not what this paragraph is telling us here. It tells us that they are transporting these shells so they can think ahead and use the shells later. So the answer to number 30 is G, are able to plan for future needs. So if you chose G, you are almost across this troll bridge without being eaten. Number 31, the purpose of this selection is to, remember, they call it a selection because it is nonfiction. It's giving us real life facts, okay? So the purpose of this selection is to, A, compare octopuses with other animals that are tool users. Maybe, they did talk about in the end, our conclusion told us some other animals that are tool users and how scientists are now calling octopuses tool users as well. So A could be our answer. Let's look at B. Describe an octopus that was hiding in a coconut shell. Is that what this text is doing? Are they describing just one octopus and how he hid in this shell? I think I went too. No, that is what this photograph is showing us, but that's not what this entire text is about. So if you chose B as your answer, sorry, you better start running. C, provide readers with facts about the intelligence of octopuses. Yes, that is something that our entire text that we read is doing. It's giving us facts and information because it's an informational text. So that means since C is a better answer choice than A is now eliminated. And if you chose A, you are now eliminated. Sorry. Let's go run. D, encourage readers to learn more about interesting sea creatures. So not only are we not trying to encourage or persuade anything here, the text is not telling us about just sea creatures in general. They are focusing on octopuses. So D is not our answer. You're also going to run. But if you chose C, if C was your answer, then you may take some safe steps across the bridge. No troll there. Let's move on to number 32. The photograph is included with the selection most likely to. So let's go up to our photograph. And of course we know that the photograph is going to come with a caption. And that caption is going to inform us of what is in the photograph. Okay, so here we have an octopus hiding inside a coconut shell. So why was this included? Number 31, right? Nope, number 32. So this photograph was included in the selection to most likely to F, show how many arms an octopus has. Is that what our caption told us? No. If you chose F, G, demonstrate how an octopus puts shell halves together. That's not what our caption told us that photograph is showing us. So again, G is not our correct answer. H, show why octopuses need to hide from enemies. I can see why someone would choose that answer. So we will say M for maybe, but let's go look at J. J, illustrate how an octopus can fit inside a coconut shell. That is exactly what our caption told us. So J is our answer, not H. So if you chose J, the troll is not going to get you. Before we read number 33, we always got to read these directions up here. Use squirrels using snakeskin and a clever use of coconuts to answer questions 33 through 36. So since we have paired passages, and here they're telling us we're using both passages, we are going to be comparing and contrasting. Remember, comparing is when we're telling how they are the same or similar, and contrasting is when we're telling how they are different. Okay? Number 33, what is one difference between the types of animal behaviors described in the two selections? A, many animals use snakeskins for protection, but only octopuses are known to use shells to protect themselves. So we know that the first selection told us that squirrels use snakeskins for protection. It didn't tell us how many animals did. And then we also know that octopuses are not the only animals that use shells. We have things like crabs, snails, and so A is not our answer. So if you chose A, hope you're fast enough. B, squirrels have several ways of protecting themselves, but octopuses only have one way. We know that our first passage, squirrels using snakeskin, only focused on one way, not several ways of squirrels protecting themselves. And octopuses, it told us that they have other ways, not just by using shells. And this is not the only way that they protect themselves. So B is not our answer. Go ahead and run. C, scientists understand why squirrels use snakeskin, but researchers needed to understand why octopuses use coconut shells. At the end of a clever use of coconuts, it explained why, how scientists came to the conclusion as to why octopuses use coconut shells to protect themselves. So we know that C cannot be our answer. You'll be running along with everyone who chose A and B. And if you chose B, good job. Squirrels disguise themselves with scent, but octopuses hide from the view of their enemies using a coconut. So you can go ahead and take a few more safe steps across that bridge. Just that. You've almost safely made it across the bridge without getting eaten by a troll. Number 34. One similarity, which means the same. When you see similar or similarity, that means the same. One similarity between the two selections is that both discuss animals that F, use things found in nature to remain safe. Snakeskin is shed from a snake that's found in nature. And coconut shells are found in nature as well. So F could be our answer. G, need help from humans to survive. Never was that mentioned in either one of our selections. Never did it mention humans helping them to survive. So if you chose G, it's time to run. So I am running out of time on this recording, so we are going to stop here and pick up where we left off on the next video on the next slide.